we of course knew that Rob Holmes was gonna making the music game. We got some sample. It was perfect and all that. And then the beta came out. And the beta was, or alpha, pre-alpha, or alpha. I can't remember. I played one of them, and I played it. It looked okay. I am. I was not. There were some bugs. Now I played like the first couple of days, 2 or 3 days, 2 days. I think. And I stopped playing it because just I was saying to myself, okay, played it. Looks good. It's okay. Let's wait for the release. And I got access to the whole beta, and I know the beta, but it's just it spoils the game in the end because you will not appreciate it as much if you're in something like that, especially if you want to play the full project and then review it afterwards. So I told to myself, okay, I played it, it works great, it looks okay, and all that. So got my hands on it when it came out, and I started playing it, streaming it with you guys. And from my experience so far, I am not, again, not a fan of the engine they chose. For one simple reason, I do not think the way they try to hold on to Gabriel Knight, um, uh, making it original, I do not think that a 3D engine is the right choice. I would rather have seen something like a more 2D style engine. And the characters have that choppy look on it. I think they could have gone with a little bit a better engine. But I know why they chose the engine. I have or I don't know, but I have. This is a speculation on. The speculation is because of Mobius was made. They that was a hard birth. A lot of problems on that, and the engine was definitely not well received on my end. And the modeling from there is probably it probably came from them. It's probably the same engine, and they with the style they chose, going away from it, having that more distant look. Because if you play Mobius, it's more see the full body, and you see all the things that doesn't look that well, uh, and the animation a little bit iffy on also. So through that, they chose the best of both, the best what they had at that point. It went with the same engine and it looked better, but in my opinion, still, if you actually go get those close-ups on the face and all that, it's just. I would rather see they draw that, but I can understand they don't have a limited amount. A limited amount of money to do artists and all that, even though they had probably plenty of storyboard, but they couldn't reuse. But I do. Let's keep on going. That's just the engine. The engine, there's nothing wrong with it. Just doesn't look that well as I'd hoped it to be, and the modeling is not that great. The animation is definitely, if you compare it to Mobius, and if you played Mobius, seen Mobius, the animation has definitely got a bump up. They had more time, maybe more money, or they got more. Uh, they got better at handling the engine because it is still a pretty young engine. So it's or the build they've done. It doesn't matter. Just the animation has definitely improved from time, so the team has definitely bumped it up notch. So that they fixed a lot of things. So through that, I do love the game, the anniversary edition. I definitely want to play that again at some time, maybe in a half year or so, when it's aged a little bit. And if you look also at the choices they make, and let's go through that. If you go through the first day, which is probably the one day that impressed, where there are a lot of impressions there. That's just saying like, okay, look at the first day. What's happening? We get introduced to Gabriel, Grace. We get introduced to Mosley. Voice acting is pretty okay. I'm not saying it's horrible, but Mark Hamill and Tinker are something special. So I think it's unfair uh, to to say they are horrible, they are good, because there's such a big gap in talent there, in my opinion. So I'm just saying it's good. There's nothing wrong with it as a perspective. I've heard a lot worse voice acting uh, on other games that have probably been cost a shit ton more. So let's voice acting is okay. Some of the pronunciations there could have been better. I do still think they should have gone with a more traditional. uh, um, uh, narrator like they did in the first one. But I might, and this is also speculation. I actually think it has something to do, even though you probably uh, get somebody from New Orleans and talks that way. Probably the whole thing that's been 20 years, so the dialect and all that might the people who talk that way could have changed, and it's probably hard to find people on that or hire people that had that same style of talking, and it's changed. So they probably went with something similar. I don't think it's bad. I just think I like the original more. Um, so if you again we go through all this, the puzzle are pretty much the same. There's nothing really changing there. There are some added scenes, like for instance, if you go to the police station, you start out actually seeing the police station from the outside instead of starting when you go to the police and see it from inside. Also, the Napoleon restaurant or bar is not on the map instantly. It's something you need to go back there later and figure out, oh, you can go there, which is actually weird because Gabriel is a regular customer there. So, little, small things, but again, go through the police station. Police station gets that added outside scene, which is not bad. You can go around the back in the alley, get Mosley window, which I actually thought was the way to get in when Mosley's not there, which it actually was, but just a little bit of twist on it. So go in the scene, Sergeant is there, the desk sergeant, you see Mosley and all of that, and everything is pretty much the same. Yellow blazer, black tie, white shirt, everything is great. It's still bald as hell. You can't visit your grandmother on that day. Save that for later. Still the same puzzle, maybe a little bit harder. Some of the scenes are smaller in view. So I've heard, for instance, from a friend who said that the puzzle with the mime is harder to do because there's so little space compared to the original one, which is so large, bigger. It's actually four scenes, four separate screens, where this is pretty much like four scenes also, but it's just smaller area. There's the character size, the scale of the characters are larger, so there's a little less space. Again, maybe engine design, I don't know, engine flaw, engine choice. So you go through that, you pretty much figure out. You can double click, which actually I didn't. I wrote, I saw somebody write at double clicking made him jump instantly. That's actually pretty common in modern point and click games because that's just double clicking makes him jump there. So you actually just don't want to watch that stupid animation. Some people enjoy that. I don't care. I like both. So again, all things changes to that. You go through. You take you con the policeman. He runs after the mime. You go ahead and take walkie-talkie. You listen to the place. You get to the murder scene. Here's probably the biggest impact on me from the original one. From the original one to the new one. That's where I love the new one so much more. Get to the scene, everything looks the same. Some small changes to how they do the stuff, and then the Getty's car comes. They switch over to that comic style, and it's actually interactive. You see the dialogue popping up as small pop bubbles there, where you see it all. You see it interacting. Great choice. Probably the best part of the game is introduced right there. That they nailed that. If they took that, put that in the original, and upped the graphics in 2D, in my opinion, perfect game. Perfect game. Okay. After that, pretty much do all the stuff. You figure out, you find some puzzles, you find the scale, and of course, again, um, through the changes to not the changes, they added like the cupboard in Gabriel's bookstore where you have to open the cupboard. You see the magnifying glass, the tweezers. You have to get that book, which actually is a book back at Gabriel's grandma's house. You find upstairs in the original one. So compared to that, it's actually the sketchbook is there, which I I don't care. That's just a design choice making. Okay, we don't want to introduce the grandmother yet. We wait later for that. I don't know. Again, it's as I told you before. It's more like they. I think Jane or the team took like saying like, for instance, as you can see, some of my videos for the original were really short, and you go through there, and one of some of the days there's so little to do because you've done so much the other day. So they say, okay, we want to have this almost the same amount of game time. Let's say game time each day. These are the things we want to do. Okay, where can we force or make design choices so you're not you can't do that yet. So get to that. I think they did that and tried to even it more out, which is fine by me. Um, so that's not a problem here. Just another little ends. But the day ends, you go ahead, and again, some of the store, the drug store, museum is not available in the first day, which is where it's closed. But the funny thing is, in the original one, you go ahead and actually is another desk clerk that says Dr. John will be back the next day, which is a small thing. Again, an actor scene, just cut it out. Why waste money on making something that's just you can't go here yet? It's just make a text box. It's a nice choice. I don't see a problem with that. So where the problems start to coming up, in my opinion, is some of the